Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm coming back again with another video on lights used on vessels. Those are called marine navigation lights. That's what we're talking about now, marine navigation lights. We have what we call running lights. Running lights are always there, are always on. Even if the ship is on anchor, there are lights that are there giving lights to the vessel so that it is seen again or it is identified. I've already mentioned that these kinds of lights are regulated internationally, and also I must add that internationally their regulations are developed by IMO, International Maritime Organization. Now, there are special lights. These I'm talking about when a ship is at anchor and all, and lights for special vessels. Now, those special lights that are working on specialized vessels, they are regulated as such. Now, what are specialized vessels? Specialized vessels are those vessels that have different kinds of roles that are not like others. For instance, a specialist, a specialist. That a specialist will do that particular kind of a job, not another. So it's like that even with ships. So what are these vessels, or which ones are called specialized vessels? Specialized vessels, for instance, you can mention minesweepers. A minesweeper is a naval vessel. As you see that it is called a minesweeper, which means that it is detoning the mines that could be dangerous elsewhere at sea. So those vessels we call the minesweepers. They are solely for detoning mines. Now, their lights are specialized to serve that particular purpose. We have also dredgers at sea. What is a dredger? A dredger, in simpler terms, there could be sophisticated terms, but I will be just simple to tell you what I understand about a dredger. A dredger is that kind of a vessel or an equipment, if you want, that is going to remove sand or silt in a port, for instance. Remember, the waves and the currents keep on going or coming, going and coming. There are waves who are going up and down, low, up, down, sides. You never know from which side the current is going to come. They carry with them silt or sand or sediments, and then these will be blocking the shipping lanes in a port. So once those waves and tides bring that kind of material, because the tide was high or low, right, then you have an equipment called a dredger that is used to remove that silt and open the shipping lane or the space of ships so that they can be maneuvered. Now, the ports know at what time the tide will be too high to bring that kind of material. For that matter, if you go to a port, you will see when that silt has come out of the sea. You'll see, even if you don't know about it, that why is this silt, the sand and all these things here now closer to us? It's because there was a high tide. So many a times the port keeps on dredging. They have equipments to do that. The dredgers, ships called the dredgers, small vessels for that matter, called dredgers. We have high-speed ferries. A ferry, those high-speed ferries fall under these specialized vessels. They have these running lights we're talking about. We have fishing vessels. Some of our brothers and sisters are waking up at sea at night fishing because a particular kind of a fish species will be available at a particular time, so you find them there at sea fishing all the time. They use trawlers to do that. Those are specialized vessels only for fishing. We have towing vessels. Towing vessels are nothing else rather than tugs. For instance, what is a tug? A tug is a towing vessel. It's a vessel that is towing other ships where they are in trouble. They are in distress, whatever is happening, and then it cannot move. It must be pulled by a tug. Maybe it's grounding, maybe it's sinking, maybe there is a collision, and then it's leaking oil and all those things. You use a tug to remove that ship from that space. So a tug is also a towing vessel. So we have them all over the world. Countries have their own tugs, big or small. We have barges. Let's see. Barges also fall under specialized vessels with these kinds of lights called running lights. Let alone the big vessels that are at anchors will have the running lights as well. But these specialized vessels have these specialized lights. Now, what are barges? A barge, in simpler terms, okay, is a ship. It carries cargo, but it is pushed by tugs. Right, it is not like a ship that is maneuvered. A tug is pushed by a tug to wherever it goes, carrying that cargo. So it is additional to resources that a boat might have to carry the cargo. They use barges. Barges are always found internally. They don't go out in high seas and move from this country to another. No, they stay within a port and do the work in the port, assisting in moving cargo from here to there, shorter distances, let me put it that way. So they use tugs to push them. So these lights we're talking about, the specialized lights or any other light that is used by a vessel, they are constructed. And at construction stage, they are regulated. So those people who are constructing or manufacturing those lights, specialized lights we need at sea, they must be regulated. So they go straight to the regulations. What are the regulations saying? What kinds of lights are required to a particular ship? Remember, the ships are not the same. Some are tugs, some are big vessels, bulk carriers, some are containers. So now the issue is what kind of lights we are going to put in this vessel. What are we making? What are we, which particular kind of light that ship needs? So now they will go to the regulations. If it's an international going ship, they will go to SOLAS or the COLREX 1972 collision regulations of 1972. The SOLAS vessels and those regulations and the code, they will be able to explain what kind of lights are required for a particular vessel. So which means that now we have international standards and national standards for this particular vessel. They come in different formats. Apart from regulations for these vessels, also the range the light must have is articulated in the regulations. In range, when we talk about a range, we mean a distance from which the lights can be seen. Yeah, Yeah, a distance from which the lights can be seen. It is called the range. So now you can think about it yourself in simpler terms, that if you have a smaller vessel of maybe 20 meters, you cannot compare its range with a big vessel, solar's vessel. So they differ. Solar's vessel maybe will need a bigger angle or a range of maybe let's say 11 meters or whatever. So, but in the notes, I can't remember now. In your notes, you will get the range of big vessels and a range of small vessels, but I think I have them in miles. For instance, if you talk about a big vessel, a solar's vessel, it will have a bigger range comparable to a small vessel. What I know is that in miles, it could be 6 miles, and a smaller vessel, it could be 3 miles. Solar vessel, a mile is equivalent to something like 11 meters, but you can convert, you'll see how it is. Advantages of these lights. Why do we have lights on vessels? Any kind of a light. Why do you have it? It is clear, even before I can tell you and list them categorically. You already know that if a vessel at sunset or before sunrise has no lights, it means it will be invisible. Nobody will see it. Then if it's invisible, it means that there is a possibility of a collision because nobody sees it at sea. So that is the basic reason we have lights at sea. Now, so these vessels must be able to see one another. Now, seeing one another, I don't mean a vessel has got eyes to see. No, you have navigators. They must be able to see that there is a vessel there, there is another one there, there is another one there. And those vessels must be able to see your own vessel. So that is the reason why. Another reason we keep lights on vessels, we want to avoid collision. So if a vessel is invisible, there is a possibility of collision. Thirdly, you need to know or to see the size of an oncoming vessel or any vessel you are following. You must see its size and the type of the vessel itself. Is it a container, a ROPAX, a tanker, a passenger vessel? So if it's at night, the lights will be there to make you see or understand what kind of vessel is coming or is following you. Also, you want to know the direction this ship is taking. Is it going forward or backwards? You need lights to do that. Now, all these lights have well-defined angles. Now, you already know that the angles are measured in degrees. So maybe you'll be able to measure them. So if the vessel is not visible, there is a problem. So lights again, they are needed. So I've already mentioned that these lights, whether they are all-round lights, masthead lights, stand lights, they must have their own angles. They must have their range. You must know the distance where they are. These measurements are all in degrees. Ladies and gentlemen, I think this portion of lights is clear and simpler. I hope you understood what I'm saying. you know now the kinds of flights you will find. And you know the types of vessels that have specialized roles at sea and specialized lights. I thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, but don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to learn, to listen to the video. The video, I have already said, is just a summary of everything. The details of everything I've just talked about here are in your notes. Go to your notes and get the details. I can't summarize the whole thing. I choose particular areas and I talk to them. Then if you go to your notes, you will have everything elaborated for you clearly. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.